giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Please put your fingers out of my face, Robyn. Please put your fingers out of my face, Robyn.
This is putting my finger in your face.
Out of my face, Robyn. Out of my Robyn. Please get out of my restaurant. Please go.
I just thought that we would start this video out with a trip down memory lane, because for Robyn Dixon, of all people, to call anybody antagonistic, that really blew me. What we saw was an absolute disgrace, because that was one of the sorriest displays I have ever seen. Mia, you're a pathological liar. You're a loser, a clown. Disgusting. How dare you sit up there and throw a drink in Wendy's face and then hit her with your clutch? And then you want to sit there and act like you're a victim. I don't mean to yell. This is not going to be a traditional recap. So if you're expecting me to go scene by scene like I usually do, that's out the window. It's not happening. I don't care if you like Wendy or you don't like Wendy, but we can all agree that right is right and wrong is wrong. What happened to Wendy in last night's episode was wrong. She did not deserve that. Nothing that she said warranted a drink being thrown in her face and a clutch being swung at her. And Peter, Nene was right when she told you in season 6, stay out of women's business. Sitting up there being all petty and immature, talking about you got beef with her. What are you talking about at your big age? And come to find out, Wendy did hit you up. You were the one who didn't respond back to her. She wasn't in the wrong at all. Anything for some camera time and a damn check. And it's really pathetic. I don't care what anybody says. This was a strategic setup and a plan to take down Wendy, ice her out, and run her off this show. You cannot convince me otherwise. And Mia, you're so stupid, you don't even realize that Gizelle and Robyn have you as their puppet. They want you to do all this dirty work, but they don't like you. They don't respect you. They were sitting up there clowning you and your health scare. But yet and still, here you are, ready to carry out the mission to run Wendy off the show. There's no reason for you to have all this hate and animosity towards Wendy. And you know it. Before I analyze the entire assault that went down, I do want to point out a few things that also pissed me off throughout this episode. The constant jabs about Wendy's lack of finances. Nobody on this cast needs to be clowning anybody in regards to money. Gizelle, let's not. You were sitting up there driving that clown car in the earlier seasons. You were angry when Candace talked about you and that $900,000 teardown that took you 84 years to finally finish, and it's still not 100% renovated. And also, Gizelle, every Hue Beauty went defunct. So you should not be talking about anybody and their businesses or their finances. Stop. Robyn, you got on this show broke.
Ladies, may we get a word?
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around. With your broke ass.
Ashley was running around telling everybody how you and Juan only had $25 in your bank account. The house was foreclosed on. You guys had moved into a townhouse. You finally got 2 nickels to rub together, and now you want to sit up here and clown somebody else? How does that work? Mia, I'm just really side-eyeing you because the jokes truly write themselves. You were sitting up there on Instagram 3 weeks ago crying about how Gordon's brothers have since wiped the business accounts clean. And you don't know where your next meal is coming from. So it's really comical that you want to sit here and laugh at somebody else and their finances. And for all this money and for you to be this big boss, you have them in these lackluster accommodations. And on top of that, if you're so rich, then why are you and Gordon renting in Potomac? Why don't you own? I don't care anything about this Karen versus Charrisse stuff, so we're not even going to touch it. I'm tired. Karen doesn't want anything to do with Charrisse. It is what it is. Charrisse is using this as a storyline to get her foot back in the door as a full-time cast member. It's not going to happen, sis. Move on. So when we see them all go to bar 1, Mia is talking to Peter, being shady. They're talking about who else, Wendy. You have Peter talking about, I feel slighted because Wendy's here in my city and doesn't even hit me up. And I'm so glad that one of you guys said on Twitter, who knew that when you land in Miami, you need to talk to Peter Thomas? Absolutely not. And Mia, whatever's going on business-wise between Wendy and Peter, that's none of your business. So why are you so involved? So Mia sits back down after talking to Peter and everything goes left. So she's talking about, you know, Wendy, Peter has beef with you. And when Wendy said, I don't beef with men. If Peter has an issue, he can call my husband. But I'm not going to be sitting up here beefing with some man who's not my man. And I said, Wendy, exactly. You have Mia trying to school Wendy, talking about, well, you have a contract and you need to read it over. It's under review. Like, you don't do that, Wendy. And once again, Mia, it's none of your damn business. And we find out from Wendy herself that Peter is the one who owes her a phone call. She had texted him saying, hey, Peter, I would love to set up a site visit to check out the space. And he never got back to her. All this talk and don't even have your facts straight. At this point, Mia's being contradictory to whatever Wendy says. And it's evident that she was determined to find fault in whatever Wendy was saying because she wanted to throw that drink in her face. Wendy makes it clear, I do not owe Peter anything. And furthermore, the only man who needs to know that I'm out of town or in town is my husband. Mia going on about how Peter is her family, and I said, shut the entire hell up. You and Gordon probably met Peter last year. I don't believe anything coming out of Mia's mouth about how she and Gordon have known Peter for a decade and he's been to their house and he was at her daughter's christening. I don't believe it. We all know that Mia's a liar. You don't even remember the age difference between you and Gordon. So you expect me to believe that she knows the amount of years that she's known Peter Thomas? And of course, while Mia and Wendy are going back and forth, you have the peanut gallery talking under their breaths. You have Gizelle talking about, I mean, come on, like, it's business. You don't do that. What are you saying? And where is your business? Like I said, where is every hue beauty? I'll wait. It went belly up years ago. It was grand opening, grand closing. But now you know so much about business. When Wendy said, maybe you talk to men like that, but I don't. And now Mia claps back and says, well, I'm around men all day. I'm the only female CEO in the boardroom. And I'm the only black one at that. The CEO of nothing is nothing. What are you the CEO of? It's a vanity title. You know you're not doing a damn thing. And now you really aren't a CEO, sis, because Gordon's brothers now have control. It's funny how life works. If you were the CEO, wouldn't you have access to your business accounts? How does somebody else come in and snatch it all away? And Mia's brain is the size of a flea, so I highly doubt anybody is coming to her to run any business. So at this point, Wendy claps back and says, okay, and I'm the youngest professor at Johns Hopkins, along with the only black female professor at Johns Hopkins. So you have Robyn and Gizelle rolling their eyes, and Giselle's like, what does that have to do with anything? Now I said, but what does Mia saying that she's the only female CEO have anything to do with this conversation? So again, it's okay for Mia to say what she wants, but when Wendy flexes her credentials and she shuts the conversation down, now it's a problem? The double standards are so glaring. And the colorism, yes, y'all, I'm gonna say the word. I don't care who gets angry. It is full-blown colorism on this show. I've been saying it since season 5. So Wendy says, maybe you and your husband play like that, but me and my husband don't play that. And all of a sudden, Mia goes right on ahead and throws the drink in Wendy's face.
Me, I need to call some guy and tell him I'm coming to town. I'm not in town for business.
Now, I think that Wendy handled this in the best way possible, a complete class act. Now, I'm saying this as somebody who is against violence, but I do believe in self-defense. I have very quick reflexes, so if you were to ever throw a drink at me, it's gonna be on. The whole table would have been flipped over and it would have been a hot mess for Mia. Mia would not have gotten out there without a few marks, bruises, and scratches. And yes, I'm saying that. I don't think that I would have handled myself the way that Wendy did. Wendy did an exceptional job. We can argue and verbally spar till the end of time, but do not put your hands on me. Do not throw an object at me. Don't throw a drink in my face. That is beyond disrespectful. And once again, it clearly showed that this was premeditated because Mia was already determined to get under Wendy's skin. That was not a spur of the moment decision. She had already planned to throw that drink in Wendy's face. Now at this point, I'm waiting for Gizelle and Robyn to start screaming and telling Miss Mia Thornton that she's wrong for that. The same way they were screaming and hollering when Monique Samuels assaulted Candace. Now I want to pause right here and just let it be known that this showed me that it was never about protecting Candace in season 5. It was all about let us get Monique off the show. They just hated Monique so bad that they were willing to side with Candace. Because if you hate violence so bad, then you are consistent. You would be condemning Mia for what she just did to Wendy, right? I know that I would. It's unacceptable. And yes, I still think that Monique was wrong for what she did to Candace. Let's be really clear on that. But we can't deny the obvious that they're not against violence. It just depends on who's doing it. Monique doing it is wrong, but Mia doing it is all right. And I wonder why that is. And do we remember how Gizelle needed security? She had her bodyguard. She didn't want to be anywhere near Monique. Remember that? But with Mia, they're laughing and cheering her on. Now, here's how I feel about things. If you should ever violate me in this sort of way where you get physical with me, at this point, I have every single right to say whatever I want to you. You don't get to hit me, assault me, and then police my reaction. That's not how it works. I was so happy when Wendy said, girl, that's why you and your husband are out here sleeping with other men and women. I said, get her, Wendy. And Mia being all upset. I said, well, I mean, Mia, let's not forget that when you came on the show last year, you did say that you and Gordon had threesomes often, and Gordon actually liked white women. So Wendy's not off base to say that you do sleep with other women, because you do. Did anybody catch the smiles that Robyn and Gizelle had when that drink was thrown at Wendy? They looked so full of joy. When Robyn said, look at her, being antagonistic. And then when she whipped out her phone to record Wendy and make it look like Wendy was being an animal, I have never been so livid. I mean, I was seething. It's a sad day when Ashley Darby is actually making sense. Because she even said, I mean, listen, it's shots fired now since Mia threw that drink at Wendy. I mean, I don't like that. That's not cool. When Ashley is sticking up for the right thing, you know it's bad. So Mia's off to the side because security has escorted her away to cool down. And you have Wendy screaming that she is probably having sex with Peter Thomas. You have Gizelle and Robyn talking about, wait, what? Like, now you're just making things up. I said, oh, okay, from the biggest liars on this cast. Gizelle, you're trying to accuse Chris of doing something crazy to you in a dressing room. And then you're also lying on him, talking about he was touching Ashley's friend's butt. And you want to sit up here and say that Wendy's making things up. Again, how does that work? Gizelle is constantly lying and stirring the pot. So Wendy's still going off at this point, and you have Robyn telling her, Wendy, just be quiet. Like, you're being antagonistic, you're baiting her, just sit down and be quiet. If you don't plan on fighting, then be quiet. I said, oh, okay, let's continue to run the tape back. Because all the people that you've baited...
See what happens. You shut up. You famous is around here. Play with me, Robyn. I ain't got no time to go. Please do it.
How dare you? Y'all, I was so livid, and I'm getting angrier just even talking about this. I was this close to not even doing a video. I almost posted on the community tab, you guys, shout out to everybody. I have fun. I'm done with this franchise.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I have fun.
I gotta be good.
This is so awful to watch. Grown-ass women bullying and gaslighting one woman for no reason. And thank God that Candace was not there, because something tells me that they would have lumped Candace in this mess too. Wendy had every right to go off and keep calling Mia a crater-faced bitch. She's lucky that that's all that was said to her, because I know that pretty much everybody would have torn that table and Mia up had she thrown a drink in their face. My heart broke for Wendy when Wendy caught Robyn recording her, and she was like, Robyn, look, I know we don't like each other, but you cannot tell me that what Mia did to me wasn't wrong. So you have Robyn talking about, well, I mean, I'm not saying that she wasn't wrong, but you're baiting her and being antagonistic. The way I would have snatched that damn phone out of her hand and thrown it, y'all, I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to calm down. I warned you all on Twitter that it was going to be a whole lot of yelling, so nobody get in those comments talking about, girl, why are you yelling? And when Wendy asked Robyn, what would you do if I threw a drink in your face? And she had nothing to say, just sitting there looking dumb. And then you have Gizelle talking about, well, please don't do that. It's a sad thing to hate somebody so bad and to have that much hate and evil in your heart that you are going to sit here and gaslight and pretend that what Mia did to Wendy wasn't wrong. And even me with my little grudge-holding self, I would never sit there and deny somebody being wronged. I would like to believe that I am big enough to say, look, now, we might not get along, but that's still not right what they're doing to you. The fact that Gizelle and Robyn are turning a blind eye to what Mia did speaks volumes. And I feel like a fool because at the start of this season, I said, you know what? I am going to give everybody a clean slate. I'm going to go in hoping for the best. I'm going to give Robyn and Gizelle a fresh start. And 7 episodes in, you guys have shown your asses and we're right back to square one. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I can't stand y'all. You all have to be one of the most hateful and despicable duos that I have ever seen. Gizelle, you have 3 daughters who look up to you. You want them to see their mom condoning somebody being assaulted like this? That's okay to you? Robyn, you have 2 sons. What are you showing them? Now you have Gizelle getting on Karen because Karen is always trying to be neutral all the time. Karen, you also got on my nerves just a little bit. I was glad that you acknowledged that what Mia did was wrong, but for you to say that Wendy was wrong too, how is Wendy wrong? Like I said, if you hit me, throw a drink in my face, I have full right to say whatever I want to you now going forward. You don't get to abuse somebody and then tell them how to respond back. Wendy did not say anything to warrant that treatment. Sometimes I need Karen to pick a side. Stop always straddling the fence all the time. It's irritating. My God. And do you see how delusional Mia is? When she was off talking to Jacqueline and she's like, anytime you tell Wendy the truth about herself, she gets mad. And I'm like, but what are you saying, Mia? Everything out your mouth is a lie. And you started this entire mess for no reason. And I'm also confused as to why you have so much hate in your heart for Wendy. But you easily forgave Gizelle and Robyn after they clowned you over your health scare. And Robyn, you looked and sounded like a true fool when you stood up at the table and you were like, you know what, Wendy, you're right, you're the winner, you're always right. And it's like, but she actually is right because you keep calling her antagonistic when she didn't do anything. Mia was antagonizing her the entire night. So now you see Mia come back to the table and immediately she starts putting her finger in Wendy's face. And Wendy's like, you have one more time to put your finger in my face. And my heart just really wept for Wendy. She was so aggravated and she got up like she wanted to hit Mia back. And I said, Wendy, if you had clocked her one good time, I would not have been mad at all. And I really felt bad when security escorted her off And he was like, Wendy, like, calm down. You're better than this. Don't let her get you angry like that. Like, just calm down. But I can feel her pain because she is being gaslit in the worst of ways. And did you guys hear Mia call Wendy ghetto? She was like, ghetto ass. And I'm thinking, how is Wendy the ghetto one when you're the one up here starting fights? Am I missing something? And the funniest thing about this is, Mia, for you to be so big and bad, then why do you keep blocking everybody on Twitter, sis? Because when I called you a disgusting, vile human being last night, you blocked me immediately. You're a coward. The backlash is too great for you, huh? And Miss Robyn, you want to do all that taunting Wendy, but you're the one with the turned off comments on Instagram. Y'all want to be so big and bold, but when it comes to social media, now you guys are just shook, huh? You guys want to block people. Wendy was absolutely correct when she told you, Mia, that you're embarrassing yourself and your business. And I guess that struck a nerve because now you go upside her head with your clutch. I was so disgusted, like, who behaves like this? I was just too through. And then, of course, you have Robyn and Gizelle going off about how Wendy's been so antagonistic. And I'm like, what we are watching is just pure lunacy. Because this makes absolutely no sense how you all want to sit here and lie. Y'all know that Mia is dead ass wrong for what she just did to Wendy. Gizelle, I'm really shocked at your behavior because you and Wendy are both an AKA. And I was under the impression, now I know that a lot of my AKAs and Deltas follow me, so please sound off in the comments. But I was under the impression that as a soarer, you keep a united front in public. I'm in absolute shock that you would sit up here and condone this type of treatment towards your sister. And I don't know what the disciplinary actions are regarding this, but I'm just so hurt for Wendy. And Robyn, you're a Delta. I know that Deltas and AKAs are close, right? So for you to also condone this behavior towards Wendy is just, it's mind-boggling to me. Y'all, I'm really speechless. I was absolutely done when Mia walked away, and then for Gizelle and Robyn to run after her, and they're like, are you okay, Mia? Are you okay? Like, we're just checking on you. And then Mia says, you know, I'm gonna leave. Gordon's about to buy my plane ticket back home, like, I'm going. And then Gizelle said, no, you can't leave. And if you do leave, then we're all leaving with you. And I just felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Because for them to sit here and act like she's the victim in all this. And did you all catch when Robyn said she was baiting and antagonizing you all night? You did exactly what she wanted you to do. Excuse me? I said, are we watching the same show? How on earth did Wendy bait Mia? And then Mia talking about somebody get me a Band-Aid, I broke a nail. You broke your nail for no reason. This all could have been avoided. Then when Mia got in the car to call Gordon up again, and she's like, babe, she was talking about our marriage, and she said that I was sleeping with Peter Thomas, and Gordon's like, oh, well, you know, that's just so laughable. Like, she doesn't even know. And I wanted to just jump through that screen and say, Mia, tell your husband what you said. And for Mia to keep repeating to Gordon, I just can't let anybody sit there and talk about my family like that. I just can't let that happen. I have no more words for Mia. I want her off this show. That's all I have to say going forward. I want Mia off this show. She has been a complete flop. And I'm so angry that Bravo did not go ahead and just fire her like I was told they were going to do last season. She pulled this health scare storyline out of her ass to stay on this show because she knew that her time was up. A desperate, thirsty wannabe who will do and say anything for some damn camera time and a check. And going forward, I want to see Wendy show up with security guards every single time she's around Mia. The same way Gizelle didn't feel safe around Monique Samuels in season 5, then I want Wendy to do the same stunt. Now, when Gizelle and Robyn walk back to the table to fill everybody in on how Mia's doing, was anybody just ill when Gizelle said, yeah, you know, so I just talked to Mia and she's just really upset by everything, rightfully so. And I'm looking at the screen at this point like, you have got to be kidding me. And Wendy, here is where you stole the entire show for me, and I stood up and started clapping. Wendy gets up and says, I'm not gonna sit up here with a whole bunch of Mia empathizers. For someone who's okay with violence now, but when Monique did what she did to Candace, she was against violence. I'm not gonna sit up here with a bunch of hypocrites. And we close it out with a to be continued flashed across the screen. And I said, Wendy cleared, ate and left no crumbs. And Gizelle's face was cracked when she brought that up. Because like I said, violence is okay on this cast, just depending on who it is. Bravo. It's time to go back to the drawing board because this ain't it. I am on the fence on whether I'm going to continue reviewing Potomac. This might be the last recap. If you all would be so kind to send me some recommendations of other shows that you're into and want me to review, then please put them down in the comments because I cannot promise you that I'm going to stick with Potomac. I tried, I was excited for this season, but again, I will not sit here and be angry every time I watch the show on Sunday night. If you have been someone who insists that there is no colorism on this cast, I need you to rewatch this episode again and again and again.
And you're gonna always get it again and again and again.
Because it is in your face. I mean, it's slapping you in your face. Because the treatment of the darker skinned women on this cast is shameful. But something has got to give. And with all that being said, I'm done.